Welcome to the Monsters Among Us podcast. This is episode 10, Mothman.
Tonight we're diving deep into the eerie accounts surrounding the Mothman of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It's a legend that, well, it still fascinates and kind of unnerves people.
Absolutely. And these initial sightings, they kicked off back in the mid-1960s.
Right, mid-60s. And when you hear what witnesses described,
Mm.
I mean, tall, often like a man, 6 to 8 feet tall.
Okay.
And then these huge wings.
Yeah.
Some said 8 feet, some said 15 feet across.
15 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the eyes, everyone remembered the eyes, big glowing red eyes. Some said it was gray or dark colored too. It's just quite a picture.
It really is. And this is all happening in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Sort of a small town, seems peaceful, right, where the Ohio and Kanawha rivers meet.
Exactly. Well, it's pretty normal, quaint even, which, makes these really unsettling stories stand out even more.
So our plan tonight is really to explore some of the most compelling and, frankly, the scariest stories about the Mothman, pulling from, actual eyewitness accounts and the investigations that happened.
Yeah, let's get right into it, because some of these are pretty intense.
Okay, so where do we start? One of the first ones. November 12th, 1966, near Clendenin.
Yes, that's the one. 5 grave diggers.
Yeah.
They're working in the cemetery, and they see, well, first they thought it was a person.
A person.
Yeah, like a figure flying out from the trees. It swooped down low over their heads and then just flew off. Imagine seeing that in a cemetery.
Yeah, no kidding. That's unsettling.
Unsettling is putting it mildly. Then, just 2 nights later, November 14th, over in Salem, a guy named New Partridge, he had this really chilling experience.
Okay, what happened with him?
He's inside watching TV, I think. Sees these 2 red lights, like hovering over a field near his house.
Red lights? Okay.
So he goes out to check, grabs his flashlight. And these red lights, they weren't just lights, they were eyes.
Yeah.
Glowing red eyes belonging to this tall, dark figure perched up in a tree maybe 100 yards away.
Oh, okay, that's already creepy.
It gets worse. Partridge said this thing rose straight up, flew over the woods, and let out this scream he described as blood-curdling.
A screamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his German Shepherd, Bandit, it took off chasing after the creature.
Oh, no.
And Bandit was never seen again.
Oh, man. That detail, losing the dog, that makes it so much more real and dreadful.
It really does. It's not just seeing something weird. It's like there are consequences. It feels dangerous.
So the very next night, November 15th, this is maybe the most famous one, the Scarberry and Millette couples.
Definitely one of the most famous, yeah. Roger and Linda Scarberry, Steve and Mary Millette. 2 young couples driving near the old TNT area late at night.
The TNT area, we'll need to talk more about that place.
Oh, for sure. It's key. So they see this figure standing by the road, gray, about 7 feet tall, they said. And it looked like it had wings folded against its back.
7 feet tall, folded wings.
And get this, right near it, on the side of the road, was a dead dog. A large dog.
Wait, they thought it might be Bandit?
They assumed it was Bandit, yeah. Partridge's missing German Shepherd. Super disturbing.
Okay, so they see this, then what?
They drive past, probably freaked out, and suddenly this thing rises up into the air and starts chasing their car.
Chasing them?
Yeah. Roger Scarberry floored it, hitting speeds close to 100 miles per hour. But this creature just kept pace right alongside them.
100 miles per hour. Flying.
Flying, yeah. Linda Scarberry described hearing this high-pitched screeching sound and seeing those huge red eyes glowing like car reflectors in their headlight.
That is absolutely terrifying. I can't even imagine.
Right. Pure nightmare fuel.
Huh.
They said the chase only stopped when they got near the town limits. The creature apparently turned back then, heading towards the TNT area again.
And they reported this, right? There was a press conference?
They did. Went straight to the sheriff, I believe, and yeah, the next day, press conference. Understandably, it caused a huge stir.
I bet. Did anyone try to explain it away?
Well, yeah. A wildlife expert, Dr. Robert Smith from West Virginia University, suggested maybe it was a sandhill crane. A large bird, maybe blown off course.
A sandhill crane. Did that fit?
Not according to the witnesses. They were adamant. They said, look, we know what a bird looks like. This was not a bird. Especially given the size, the eyes, the speed.
Yeah, chasing a car at 100-mile-per-hour doesn't sound much like a crane.
Exactly. Their terror seemed genuine. And the sightings just kept coming. The very next evening, November 16th, another scary one.
Okay, who was involved this time?
Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Walmsley and their friend Marcella Bennett, who had her baby daughter Tina with her. They were visiting another family, the Thomases, who live near that same TNT area.
So near the same spot again, what did they see?
As they were getting out of the car, this large gray figure, bigger than a man, just rose up from the ground nearby.
Rose up from the ground.
Yeah. And again, they described those awful, glowing red eyes.
That sudden appearance must have been pure panic.
Totally. Marcella Bennett was so startled, she actually dropped her baby.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, she dropped little Tina right there on the ground. She scooped her up, and they all scrambled, terrified, into the Thomas house.
Did it follow them?
Apparently, yes. They said the creature sort of shuffled up onto the porch after them and started peering into the window.
Peering in the windows, that's just relentless, like something out of a horror movie.
It really is. And for Marcella Bennett, it didn't end there. She lived near the TNT area herself.
Oh, right.
She later claimed that this creature, the Mothman, actually visited her home several other times after that night.
Visited her home. How?
She didn't give specifics on how, but she said she'd see it outside, and she also reported hearing that horrible, blood-curdling scream frequently, often in the middle of the night.
That poor woman, the psychological toll.
It was immense. She apparently suffered from severe nightmares, anxiety, paranoia for years afterwards. Yeah. It really underscores the trauma these encounters caused. It wasn't just a quick scare for some people.
No, it sounds like it deeply affected them. And this TNT area keeps coming up. What exactly is it?
Right. It's officially the McClintock Wildlife Management Area now, but back during World War II, it was a major ammunition manufacturing and storage site. It's huge, thousands of acres.
Okay.
It's mostly forested now, but it's dotted with these concrete domes, these sort of igloos where they used to store explosives.
Ew.
And apparently there are tunnels underneath parts of it too. It's isolated, dense woods, kind of spooky on its own.
You can see how legends might attach to a place like that. Old military site, woods, tunnels.
For sure. And it was right on the edge of town, easy access, but also secluded. Prime territory for something strange, you could say.
So these sightings continued into 1967.
Yeah, the reports actually increased through 67. It really seemed to peak that year. People were seeing it all over the Point Pleasant area.
And then the bridge collapse happened.
Then the bridge collapsed, December 15th, 1967. The Silver Bridge, connecting Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour traffic. A terrible tragedy. 46 people died.
Just horrific.
Truly horrific. And the really eerie thing, after the bridge collapsed, the Mothman sightings just stopped.
It stopped completely.
Pretty much vanished overnight, which of course led to this widespread theory that Mothman wasn't just a creature, but some kind of omen, a harbinger of that disaster.
Wow. So the idea is it was trying to warn people, or was somehow connected to the tragedy itself.
Both theories are out there. Warning, or maybe its appearance was linked to the negative energy or the impending doom. It's impossible to know, but that connection, that sudden silence after the tragedy, is one of the most compelling parts of the legend.
It adds this whole other layer of almost supernatural dread to it.
Definitely. And there are other stories, maybe less documented, but just as chilling, that circulated in the community. You mentioned one from a pizza place manager.
Yeah, the village pizza manager told a story about a local woman, Danny Scarborough's mother.
Right, get this. This woman claimed she had to physically fight the Mothman off because it was trying to take her baby Danny right out of his crib.
Fight it off! Trying to take her baby.
That's what she claimed. Imagine the terror, wrestling with this thing to protect your child. The manager said she was absolutely convinced it happened. It's just a terrifying thought.
It really speaks to the level of fear in the town, doesn't it? That people believed this creature was capable of something like that?
Absolutely. And Marcella Bennett, the woman who dropped her baby, her description of the creature is worth revisiting too. It's quite detailed.
What does she say it looked like exactly?
She described it as shaped like a male, but with those huge wings. She said it stood in this sort of relaxed way, almost like it was waiting or observing.
Relaxed. That's somehow creepier.
Isn't it? She also said it had a head like a bird, and its neck seemed to go way down in it, like sunken into the shoulders.
Head like a bird. Okay.
But her conclusion was the most powerful part. She said flat out, "To me, it wasn't of this world."
Not of this world. Coming from someone who saw it up close?
Yeah.
That's chilling.
Yeah. And remember, this is the woman who suffered from anxiety and nightmares for years. Her terror was profound.
So beyond the sightings themselves, were there other weird things happening? You mentioned strange phone calls.
Right. Linda Scarberry, one of the first witnesses from the TNT area car chase, reported getting these really unnerving phone calls afterwards, like weird electronic noises or garbled voices.
Okay, it's odd.
And even stranger, she claimed she was visited by the Men in Black.
The Men in black, seriously, like guys in suits telling her to be quiet.
That's the classic description, yeah.
Yeah.
She said they intimidated her, implied she shouldn't talk about what she saw, and apparently there were other reports floating around Point Pleasant during that time of mysterious men in black suits questioning witnesses, sometimes confiscating evidence, warning them off.
Wow, so that adds a whole conspiracy angle to it, potentially.
It really does. Were they
Yeah.
government agents? Something else. Who knows?
Mm.
But it adds another layer of weirdness and fear.
And there was another close encounter story you found. Someone's brother.
Yeah, this came from someone recounting their brother's experience.
Mm.
He was a teenager at the time, driving near the TNT area again, the TNT area after hearing all the Mothman stories at school.
Okay.
And he claims the creature literally jumped onto the hood of his car.
Onto the hood.
Yeah, landed right on the hood and apparently looked through the windshield directly at him and his friend.
Oh my God, what did they do?
Froze. Just completely froze in terror for a few moments before he slammed on the gas and drove straight to the sheriff's department.
I don't blame them. Having that thing right there looking at you.
Unimaginable. It just shows how immediate and terrifying these encounters were for people. Not just distant lights, but right up close.
It seems like there was more than just sightings, too. Didn't some people report psychic phenomena?
That's another strange aspect. Marcella Bennett, for instance, claimed that after her encounters, she started having premonitions, like psychic visions. And she wasn't the only one.
Really? Other witnesses, too.
Yeah, several people who claimed encounters reported developing unusual abilities or having strange dreams and premonitions afterwards. And the whole period was apparently rife with other paranormal activity in the area. Disembodied voices, objects moving on their own, appliances malfunctioning.
Like poltergeist activity?
Kinda, yeah. And UFO sightings were apparently way up during that year, too. It's like the whole area became a hotspot for high strangeness, all centered around the time of the Mothman sightings.
So it wasn't just about seeing a weird creature. It was like the whole reality around Point Pleasant was getting thin or something.
That's a good way to put it. It felt like more than just one isolated phenomenon.
So wrapping our heads around all these scary stories, the big question remains, doesn't it? What was the Mothman?
That's the enduring mystery. Was it a real flesh and blood creature? Maybe something unknown to science?
Or just misidentification, like that sandhill crane theory, even though the witnesses rejected it? Could it have been an owl, maybe? A really big one.
People have suggested owls, like a great horned owl, especially regarding the red eyes, which could be reflection. But again, the size descriptions, the shape, the behavior, it doesn't quite fit for most witnesses.
And the TNT area. Could it have been some kind of mutated animal from contamination there?
That's another theory floated, yeah. Contamination from the old munitions work causing mutations. Plausible on the surface, maybe, but again, does it explain everything? The sheer size, the flight, the intelligence it seemed to show.
Probably not. Then you get into the more out there theories.
Right. Extraterrestrial. Some kind of probe or alien being.
Yeah.
Or maybe an ultra-terrestrial, something that shares our planet, but exists in a different dimension or vibrational state, usually. John Keel, who investigated heavily, leaned towards that kind of idea.
Or even something supernatural. Demonic, angelic, depending on whether you see it as a threat or a warning.
All those theories exist. There's no single answer that satisfies everyone or explains every detail.
But regardless of what it was, its impact on Point Pleasant is undeniable, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how this terrifying period, these scary legends, have become part of the town's identity. You've got the Mothman statue there now, a museum dedicated to it, the annual Mothman Festival.
It's become a tourist attraction based on fear. It's kind of wild.
It is. It shows how communities process and, in a way, make peace with strange and frightening history. They've sort of embraced their monster.
So, as we finish up, thinking about all these genuinely scary firsthand accounts, what does it all mean? What does this enduring fascination and the real fear people felt tell us?
Well, I think it taps into something deep about our relationship with the unknown, doesn't it? The fear of what might be lurking just outside the firelight in the shadows, or even, as some theories suggest, from somewhere else entirely.
Yeah. Are these just scary stories that spiraled, fed by local fear and imagination? Or is there a possibility, however slim, that something truly inexplicable and terrifying visited Point Pleasant back then?
And maybe still exists somewhere. It definitely makes you think about the edges of our understanding, the possibility that the world is stranger and perhaps scarier than we usually admit. It's a question that sticks with you.